I'm Sheepsticked, and in this series by Yahoo Southeast Asia, we'll be covering the specific aspects of a competitive Dota 2 game from a spectator's point of view. In previous episodes, we've talked about what you can expect from a game of Dota 2, from the drafting stage to the roles of different heroes, as well as common heroes and items that you can expect to see. So for this episode, let's talk about how all of that comes together when you're watching a broadcast of a Dota 2 match. This is the screen you'll be seeing whenever you watch a broadcast of a Dota 2 match. It's very similar to what you see when you're playing the game. At the bottom of the screen is the hero UI for whichever hero has been selected by the observer. To the left of the hero UI is the minimap, while the selected hero's current goal can be seen on the right. However, there are things added to the spectator view that makes for a better viewing experience for fans. So let's go through a quick rundown of the features in the spectator view. At the top of the screen, you'll see the in-game clock in the middle, which shows how much time has elapsed, as well as if it's currently day or night in the game. When you're watching a match that has 2 games or more, the edges of the clock will also indicate the match score through a number of bars that light up. For example, if one team is leading 1-0 in a match, the side of the clock corresponding to the leading team will have 1 bar lit up to indicate their score. On either side of the clock is the kill count for each team, left for Radiant and right for Dire. While kills don't always indicate which team is winning, it can still be a good way to tell which side is leading. But to really tell which team is leading, look for the gold lead indicator that will pop up below the kill score for the leading team. For example, if the Dire team is leading by 5,000 gold, then the gold lead indicator will pop up and show 5k below the kill score indicator for the Dire side. You can also see the heroes for each side arrayed alongside their team's kill score indicator. Below each hero's portrait are HP and mana bars that show how much HP and mana they currently have. There is also a green diamond in the middle of the HP bar, which means that the hero's ultimate ability is ready to be used. If the diamond is grayed out, it means their ultimate is on cooldown. Oh, at the end of each side's hero array is the logo of the corresponding teams, so it's easy to tell which team is on which side. Now, let's turn our attention to the left side of the spectator screen. On this side, you will see charts and indicators that help you understand how the game is going. On the top left is the KDA and last hit indicator for the hero currently selected by the observer. Basically, it shows how many kills, deaths, assists, as well as creep last hits and denies the selected hero has. While it's not that important in the grand scheme of things, it can really help you get a good idea of how the game is going for the hero being observed. Below the KDA and last hit indicator is a drop-down chart that shows a bunch of data that will help you to know the state of the game and how each team is doing. Data in the drop-down chart is almost always arranged with the highest values shown first. You can also tell which side a hero in the chart belongs to by the color, with Radiant heroes in green and Dire heroes in red. The data in the drop-down chart changes as the game goes along, so let's take a look at the ones that you're going to see the most often. In the early game, the drop-down chart will list the creep last hit and deny totals for all heroes. Since the early game will see both teams fighting in the lanes to get as many resources as possible through last hits, the drop-down chart helps to tell at a glance which team is getting an early lead. After the early game, the drop-down chart will almost always show the net worth for all heroes in the game. Net worth indicates how much gold a certain hero has accrued over time by counting the value of their current items as well as their current gold. While net worth usually increases over time, it can also get decreased when a hero uses buyback, for example. Another thing usually shown on the drop-down chart is buyback status, especially in the late game when buybacks become a deciding factor in the game. The buyback status chart shows which heroes have buyback. For those that don't, the gold or time needed before they can use buyback again are also indicated. However, you can still see the buyback status of heroes, even if it isn't the highlighted data in the drop-down chart. Look at the hero portraits in the drop-down chart. If you see a gold-colored border on the right side, then that means that the hero has buyback ready. This indicator can be seen in all drop-down charts. Aside from the data we've already talked about, the drop-down chart can also show other things, like hero levels, XP or gold per minute, and current gold, as well as other things. In addition to the drop-down charts, the broadcast can also pull up experience and gold graphs to further assist the viewer in knowing about the state of the game. The experience and gold graphs show the disparity in either experience and gold for both teams, as well as the time and impact of kills made by both sides. The golden experience disparities between the two teams will often change the most after a big team fight. To help show what happened in the team fight and how that affected the game, the broadcast will often show a fight recap. The information displayed on the fight recap include the abilities and items used in the fight, how much damage was dealt by each hero, which heroes died or used buyback, as well as the golden experience change as a result of the fight. The abilities and items used take up much of the display for the fight recap, but it's better to focus on which dealt the most damage, as well as which heroes died and used buyback. Another important feature of the spectator view is the Roshan respawn indicator. Roshan is one of the most important objectives in the game that both teams will be fighting for. However, neither team have an indicator for when Roshan will respawn. When Roshan is slain, he respawns after a random time between 8 and 11 minutes. While the players do not get any indicator for when exactly he respawns, the spectator view shows a clock at Roshan's spawn point that indicates the exact time left for the respawn. Aside from those major points of interest in the spectator view, there are also smaller indicators here and there that also show useful information. To the right of the minimap is a simplified version of the Roshan respawn indicator. Below that are indicators for the Scan and Fortify team abilities, which shows whether the Radiant, Green, and Dire, Red, can use their Scan and Fortify team abilities. Hero progression indicators, such as when a hero selects a talent or buys a major item, will also pop up from time to time on the right side of the screen. Well, that's pretty much everything you need to know about when watching a Dota 2 broadcast. If there's some other things you'd like to know, please watch the previous episodes of this series. I hope all that helped you have a good Dota 2 viewing experience, so remember to like this video and comment down below if there's other things you'd like to know.